Hey there guys, Ryan Colour Raiders here, and Tangle the Fox, partner in crime, and lie detector. I don't think you need to introduce yourself like that. I felt the need to, didn't I? I needed to do that for a long time. This was my best opportunity. Yeah, okay. Alright, but anyways, we are... Normally, I'm on my own talking about these things, but on this occasion, I decided to get involved in this situation. Especially when I know a thing about what the topic is about, to a degree. Yes, going off by what Tangle's just said, we are going to try and explain the basic format of what, well, you see, I haven't exactly uploaded in a fair bit. Over time, I've been tempted, and then I've just decided to change my mind. I think I walked in on him thinking about it. I was contemplating it. Exactly, that was where the problem was. You were contemplating it. Therefore, you kind of... Yeah, you look like you were ready to consider retiring. To a degree. Anyway, the idea in place is, I'll start from the beginning. You all... I don't think you will, actually. Basically, to make it quick, there were these videos that Ryan had uploaded up on the channel with the assistance of another. Yes, that would be the Ink Con one, as far as I remember. Is that what he's calling himself now? He keeps changing his name. I really need to keep track of that. Was he that weird? Yes, he is what happens when Dark Rayman forgets that the void exists. Ah, right. Okay. But yeah, we basically had a project going that was meant to be an experiment. Well, it was an idea he came up with a good while ago, and we then followed it on immediately afterwards. He basically said to me "Hey Ryan, what if we create a series where we mix Fnaf Sister Location and One Night at Flumptys together?" Oh, it probably wasn't exactly those words, but it was somewhere along those lines. What do you need to clear your throat for? As if it was harder to pronounce. That was just a genuine thing. But anyway, there was about 2 nights of them that were posted. Only 2 videos. Night 1 and night 2. And we were to do night 3, and we were somewhere at the we were at the office bit on night 3 by the time we were we ended up collateraling it, basically just collapsing it. Basically the April Fool's video, which was my brother's idea, which you may find it on... Where was it again? Was it here, or was it in his area? To be honest, I cannot remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it was a piece of that. That was a bit of number 3. My brother thought he could literally play us with number 3. But yet he fell for when Ryan did a speed paint. But anyway, this is what we're going to talk about. Since 1 Week of Flumptys Recracked has showed up, some fan game based off the cancelled 1 Week of Flumptys, which is based off the FNAF fan game One Night at Flumptys, created by a person. Just say it as a person. We're not out in the human world enough, though, are we? Understandable. But that aside, there's been numerous different attempts at remaking it that has been in the works way before Recracked came into play. And let's just say it was constantly switching, the ideas kept changing. It was hard to actually get a stable flow until up to a fair couple of, I think it was either days ago or weeks ago, I can't remember. There's about 2 different options going at the current moment. One of them was the entire event of the entire thing takes place all in a single night, bang at the same time, and each event happens at different times compared to other events. Or there is basically that each episode is based off a hour in the night. So from 12 a.m. all the way up to 6 a.m. But I did more agree to the sound of the idea of it all taking place in a single night, as this could allow us to play with a whole bunch of potential options. So here is exactly what these options are. Basically, I'll try and string them in via the nights, and Tangle over here will try and cover out some other details, any that I may have missed. But, anyways, the first one I came up with to it is that the place was massive, which would make this entire event make sense. So everyone would be in like set different locations within the premises of Flumpty Bumpty's House of Terrors, or House of Horrors, or what the hell was it? I think in 1 week it was a purgatory, but to be honest, I don't think we've got the time to be thinking about purgatories. But anyway, each like moment would like each of the areas would like be affected depending on what goes on. You wouldn't notice it immediately, but as you go along in the episodes, you will eventually begin to notice it as you start trying to question it. So you'll be there like questioning, like, say if for instance we've got Bonbon and Bonnet and they have, well, they have sealed off a door, and then they managed to reopen it again, and the little a little hatch that was open when they went in, but that was found closed when they came out, because, and then you say you go to like the same time on another night, so that door is now locked. But so say Baby and Lolbit would go through the hatch and then would close it, and then Bonbon and Bonnet would come back out and find that hatch closed because Lolbit and Baby had just gone through it. So basically everyone is in different spots. They are entering the spots that others are in, but certain things are looking different at the same time. So some things can look like one thing's in one scene, and then they can look different in the next. And the only explanation for every single one would be for the other nights to show that example off. So it would be like things like open doors, moved hallways, areas looking different, environmental changes, aggression in the individuals as well in the premise, such as, well, all of Flumpty's friends, which is the next part we're going to be getting to. Basically, adding on to that moment, there will be moments in the certain nights that will appear more than once, but will have different perspectives, to say the least. So, Ryan was giving an example of earlier, and I do have permission to leak this by him, but I don't know if the COD one is okay with me doing that. I'm sure he's fine for us to do this, because he kind of needs to know this anyway, so he'll probably look back anyway. But anyway, an example is during night 2 and 3, when Phantom Foxy will be investigating somewhere, and he will end up hidden in a specific corridor when one of the individuals go by. This would then occur again in night 3. But the only difference is that I will have a completely different perspective, and instead of focusing on Funtime Foxy, as night 2 was implying, night 3 it would be focusing on the very creature in question, and what it was doing. Basically, same events can repeat, but you see it in different perspectives, point of views. Also, we may introduce the idea of other characters temporarily having encounters with one another, but that is only by like certain perspectives. It's confusing. I'm sure it will make a lot more sense when you see it for yourself. Okay, now that we've gone off the idea of how that is to work, basically everyone is all trying to survive the creatures, well, Flumptys, gang of dimwits, anyway. It will, throat, sorry, it's getting really difficult to speak with the freaking voice module playing up. Yeah, I kinda gathered you were gonna say that at some point. Thanks. But anyway, we're gonna try and I'm gonna explain the characters off a little bit by detail, because we've already established well, sorry. Basically, we've just established the whole events system and perspectives and the chance that you can have other characters encounter one another. But as for the House of Horror characters, well, Flumpty's gang, basically, as for them, it is a different case. We will start off with Blam, who is the individual who will be tormenting Bonbon and Bonnet in the first episode. Now, he ain't alone. He will be paired up with a blind monster as a minor character. There's not much you'll get for him. So, basically, he'll be there, probably trying to torment the Bonds a bit. He may, unlike Night 1 in the original, there will be a bit more to it this time. He's not just going to suddenly come towards the office and be in there and then that's it. He will actually move around and he'll have more purpose to him. And the Bonds will obviously have better strategies. The next one I want to look at is the Beaver. Now, the Beaver is an interesting one I went with here. Well, I say I went with, it's a mixed project, but I had the idea of him being a good guy at the start of Night 2. So, he's like the guy who grabs Funtime Foxy and pulls him out of the way to obviously prevent him from being seen. The Beaver is a mute character, as that is my brother's idea, because the guy has got the anatomy of a beaver. So it would be him against Owl pretty much, so the Owl would be the only threat to start with. Though later on, the beaver would become a problem, later on anyway. The next two are Grunkfus and the Red Man. Now you might have just wondered, yeah, actually, you're getting to that, babe. You might have wondered, why did I just skip the Owl? Now, I will explain the Owl after Redman and Grunkfus, for a given reason. Anyways, the next character in question is Grunkfus. Now, Grunkfus is, well, Grunkfus. He's a bit in the middle. He's, like the Beaver, he will be a bit neutral, but he's not friendly, in any form or way. He is a bit iffy. Basically, he is almost like Baby in personality. Very, very easy to upset. Oi! So, yeah. I heard that, you moron! That was the point! Stupid fox. Remind me to strangle him later. You'd have to get past me through feet, but huh? Just try. You know what? Just work on your phrases later, boo. Yeah, I think I might. But anyway, Grunt first. He is more. I'd want to make him a bit comedic, to be honest. So he's a bit like Baby in the matter. He can be like a threat, like when he's between him and Baby, but he's also quite amusing as well to certain elements. Also because he's old. That might be utilized. Next up will be Red. Alright, partner. I'll explain this one. Lolbit, did you realise you just interrupted that? Look, I can definitely bring in the knowledge on the Red Man, Sheriff. You don't need to worry about a thing. Anyway, howdy, y'all. Now, where were y'all? Oh, yeah. So basically, the Red Man is, well, like me, a virus. And he is a very awkward virus, if you say to the point. Lolbit, you sound really weird as a Western accent, love. It's the voice box, Cube. I can't control it. Understandable. Says the one who can't talk at the moment, Sheriff. But yes, in fact, the con one has basically shown off some of the designs involved. And I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. The guy's massive, and all he'll do is mostly screw with the monitors. He can be intimidating at times, but he's got that kind of material where he has a thing against Flumpty, and then he does have a thing with the birthday boy. Alright, you've made your explanation. You happy? I think I'm satisfied now, Sheriff. Anyway, you two carry on. That voice box is in my throat. Maybe draw off the accent. Maybe that might be better. Okay, but yeah, thank Lolbit for explaining that. Now, before we move on, oh yes, we got the owl. Now again, we did have the owl moved on for a reason, because the owl has got a fair bit to go on here. Just like in the events of, well, the events of the original Night 2, where he was attacking Funtime Freddy, those features will be utilized, but there will be more of a chase sequence. The owl will utilize certain areas, and Funtime Freddy will try to fight with it. He will still get saved by Funtime Foxy, but it doesn't last long, because obviously he'll try and get the jump on Funtime Foxy as well. In fact, the owl gets the jump on the pair of them and tries to drag them off, until the beaver punches the owl in the stomach and throws him right at a wall, which would then lead to the beaver disappearing later because he's trying to hold off the owl. But the owl will be utilized in places like the vents, the hallways, the rooms, maybe a few secret holes for the matter, and a few things up on above. Now we have Chump and Champ. Now this is Night 4 event, so me and Tangle are involved. Not to mention the kids. Oh yeah, Wrangle and Tie-In as well. Basically, we'll start with Chump and Champ. I cannot remember which one is which, but I am sure I'm going to get corrected. So, Chump, I think, is the deaf one. And I think Champ is the blind one. I think, or it could be the other way around. I cannot remember. But anyway, Chump will... how does it work with him? Is it... Why do I'm thinking of game? Chump will have to rely on his eyes in order to see, well, detect people. So basically, he would be stalking me and Tangle through the episode, pretty much. And as for Champ, he needs sound to know where his prey is, which is pretty much why he targets the kids. Because if Wrangle and Tie-In get scared, they're bound to freak out, panic, and scream. And Wrangle will probably break down into tears. So yeah, that would basically be Champ hunting them. Eventually later on, like, we would have to deal with them both together. That would be what I would intend. Like, Chump would navigate Champ around the area, and Champ would listen out, so Chump knows where to potentially look. The next one comes in with the eyesore. Now, this one, I am not sure what to say with this one, because I don't have any given clues. But I did intend for like I saw to be chasing all four of us in the like establishment area, and one of the bits would be the door that Bonbon and Bonnet went through, and we tried to kick it in because we'd start having trouble with Eyesore about a few minutes after Bonbon and Bonnet had already gone through that door in question. So the door would be locked, but the hatch would still be open. So Baby and Lolbit wouldn't have gone through there yet. So again, it's a reference to that tie-in. Going off with that, then we got the egg himself. Yes, Flumpty Bumpty. The very reason that all of us are there in the first place. Now, all of us are together for it, for this final moment. So, night 5 is all of us basically, nights 1 to 4 all took place at the same time if you're looking to put all the episodes going simultaneously. They're all going at the same time. So, that would then mean that we would all regather at the end of the 4th night up to dealing with Flumpty Bumpty himself. We would have to challenge and survive Flumpty. But we would all have to deal with a separate Flumpty. That is something I really want to do. Like, I would imagine that I used to despise that egg a lot back in the past. I only warmed up to it when my brother did that experiment and it somehow worked. Now, I'm a fox that loves to run my mouth. So I would basically end up provoking Flumpty after he tried to congratulate us and like he tried to assert his power a little bit over us. He would snap, gain multiple limbs, he would get bigger before he would separate every last one of us into separate versions of the purgatory to deal with different Flumpties. And I don't mean like all of us together, I mean, actually, wait, would it be? Would it? Yes, babe, it would. Basically, all of us would be split into different groups again, but it'd be different people with us. And we would have to survive like different Flumpty Bumpties. Basically, survive and defeat all of them, and we would eventually be able to beat the whole thing. Beating Flumpty Bumpty at his game. But yeah, that is pretty much most of the idea. Though it is a week, so I don't know what's to go with following after the whole Flumpty thing. Like after we deal with Flumpty, but there are like 7 days in a week, but the event does take place in the same night. Possibly simultaneously at the same time. And as of very specific detail, there might be some things that we might end up throwing in at random. Like we might even have Empty Bempty show up at some point later on as like a random little Easter egg or something along the lines. Or maybe even like I could like just record little lore audio logs to put in. That would actually be quite nice. Like imagine you could like get the lore and you could actually have a run through of the understanding of it and all that. And whatever else. Like maybe we could make it like a separate video. It would be a bit of a pain in the butt though to utilize that into YouTube. Like, I don't know how to, like, say it. But, like, we could put in, like, random, like, I could record the things, have them unlisted, and put, like, pieces of their links in there, if that's what you're getting at. Yeah, something like that, yeah. Alright, that is an interesting idea, to say the least. Besides from that, I don't think there is much else to the occasion. Is there anything else on your end, Tang? No, not really. I would like to add a case to the message and mention and all that. Oh God, no. Look, if you want knowledge on projects, I am your person to help you. Baby, I don't need your help to... Shh, shh, shh. I know what you need, Ryan. Do not waste it. I can help you out, alongside your pretty girlfriend. You don't call me pretty unless you're trying to get on my good side. Shut up. Anyway, there is one thing to mention. If we're to do anything of the sort, we need, come on, for God's sake, just work it out. It sounded a lot more dramatic in my head. And I mean it did. Well, is there any kind of way to format it? I'm not sure, actually. As a matter of fact, I really do not know. Oh, yes, of course! Now I remember it. But what if we had to locate very specific things during our nights? Go on. Like, look at it. We're all trapped in the area. There's got to be something we got to do. It's all taking place in one night, isn't it? We wouldn't just be surviving till an hour. We would have to be finding something. Well, out of all your stupidest ideas, how could this one be any better? Shush! Anyways, the entire matter would result in basically finding these objects could help us win the game. A little challenge, he'd say. I kind of like it. What about you, Tang? Workable. But questionable. You'll get used to it at some point. Anyways, I'm off. Goodbye! I have made my presence known! And now, I'm going to do those one awkward exit when every... Shut up. Anyways, that is everything. So, me and Tank will catch you both on the flip side. So, see you later. Bye, you lot! You did not need to do that. Come on, it's nice. But I don't get how the Look, all I can say is, the only matter is that all the things are like, and all you're doing is blowing kisses in the middle of the flaming son of a